Hi, my name's Paul Sargent and welcome to History on Tour, a joint project with my good friend David in which we're going to explore European history through actually being on location. Now, we're splitting the duties here. David's going to take the on location side and I'm going to take the in studio side, and hopefully together we're going to help you understand some major points of European history. So for our very first episode, we're going to take a question from Dublin, the capital of the Republic of Ireland. David, take it away.
Hey Sarge, this is David live from Trinity College Dublin with some students from East Carolina University. Our main question today is, what is the Irish Easter Uprising of 1916? Can you answer that for us?
Okay, good question and timely one, David, because this is the 100th anniversary of the Easter Rising of 1916. This is being filmed in 2016, in case you didn't do the math on that one. Anyway, in order to understand what the Easter Rising was, we need to put it in historical context. Now, the British had been occupying the island of Ireland in some way or another since about the 12th century. So really, there was a very long history of British occupation here. And it had gotten more and more severe at times. Now, in 1800, the British Parliament passed the Act of Union, which brought Ireland into the United Kingdom of Ireland and Great Britain, and basically took away all of Irish freedom, or whatever freedom they had. It dissolved the Irish Parliament, but it also gave seats in the British Parliament to members from Ireland. So they were fully a part of the United Kingdom. However, there was still this very real sense that the Irish were not really equal. And in fact, a lot can be seen during the Irish potato famine, in which we hear the story that, there was just sort of this famine and all the Irish had to eat were potatoes, whereas in reality, much of the land was being used to farm things like wheat. There was plenty of food in Ireland, but the wheat was being grown by British landowners using Irish labor, and it was being sold on the market and not being given to the people of Ireland. In fact, they were so poor that they couldn't afford to buy the wheat. And when the potato famine blight hit their main food source, well, they were just decimated. Many Irish left the island for places like the United States, but many others died. In the late 19th century, there were a series of measures inside of Parliament to deal with the problem of Irish independence, for there were many in Ireland who wanted their independence. And so British Parliament considered two major Irish Home Rule bills. One failed completely. The second one passed through the House of Commons and was shot down by the House of Lords. In the early 20th century, an Irish Home Bill was brought up and it was passed, but along came World War I. And so Irish Home Rule was put on hold until the war was over and Irish soldiers went to go fight in the British Army. Well, the increasing frustration of many Irish about their involvement in the war, and also the lack of willingness on the part of the British to really carry through on what they had promised with Irish Home Rule, led to plans for rebellion. So members of a group called the Irish Republican Brotherhood began plans for rebellion that would lead to eventual independence. As the British were involved very heavily in World War I, the IRB, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, looked for assistance from Germany. And while they hoped for a German army to actually land on the Irish shores and help them fight the British, all that Germany could get them was supplies, arms, weapons, things to carry out, which unfortunately never arrived because the ship was discovered by the British, so that didn't work out so well. So on April 24th, 1916, Leaders of the IRB and about 1,600 of their followers seized key positions around Dublin. The post office and places like that were taken over. And they proclaimed an Irish free state, a new country, a free Ireland, until the British Army came in. They were kind of counting on the fact that the British Army was a little too bogged down in World War I to make any real attempt to subdue an Irish rebellion. They were wrong. And about 20,000 British troops were deployed to Ireland to put down this insurrection. Well, the British intervention was extremely successful. They declared martial law. They ended the rebellion in less than a week. They rounded up all of the leaders of the rebellion and those who were fighting for it, and they stopped the entire thing. In fact, at the time of the Easter Rising, the leaders of the IRB believed that the Irish people would rise up and fight with them, which didn't happen. And it was largely because the movement was seen as, well, completely too much. The Irish people acknowledged that they had gotten a home rule bill and were just waiting for the war to be over in order for it to be implemented. And they saw this as being too much. So why is this small uprising still celebrated today? Well, it's largely a result of the British response to the uprising. Because the British Army went in. They had all of the leaders of the rebellion shot in front of a firing squad in May of 1916. They arrested some 1,800 Irish people and sent them off to imprisonment in England without a trial. Many of these people hadn't even participated in the Easter Rising. And they imposed martial law and kept it in effect throughout the war. It's the British response to the Easter Rising that led to an increasing hatred of British rule among the Irish people. So while the Easter Rising itself was not successful in getting the Irish people behind an independence movement, the British response to it was. And when the war was over, the Irish independence movement started with fervor. It became a full-scale civil war under the leadership of a group known as Sinn Féin. For the next 3 years, the Irish Republican Army would wage its civil war against the British, civil being, of course, a questionable term when it's of people fighting for their own independence. And in 1921, a ceasefire was declared. Negotiations following the ceasefire led to the 1922 creation of the Irish Free State. 6 counties up in Northern Ireland, however, decided not to be a part of that and to remain part of the United Kingdom. Now, the Irish Free State was an independent state, but it was still part of the British Commonwealth. So it wasn't until 1949 that the Republic of Ireland was officially declared an independent country that was not part of the Commonwealth. In a symbolic measure, this proclamation was made on Easter Monday. So that's the story of the Easter Rising of 1916. It's important not because of what it was when it happened, but it's important because for the Irish people, this signified the first of a series of events which would lead to Irish independence from Britain, which had been in effect for about 700 years. Today, Ireland stands as its own free state, a fully independent member of the European Union, and those 6 counties up in the north, they're still part of the UK. So there you have it, a brief overview of the Easter Rising of 1916 and why it's seen as so important today and why it's being celebrated in Ireland this year, the centennial. And for those of you watching on YouTube, this is History on Tour. My name's Paul Sargent. My colleague David is overseas right now, and he'll be coming to us with another question soon. So take this opportunity to subscribe to my channel so that you can get notified of more videos as they get posted. And, well, we'll see what David has in store for us next. Till then, have yourselves a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.